I want to acknowledge that Grant Robertson at the outset explained the meaning of fellows, because if a worker would just simply pick that up and looked at it, it wouldn't necessarily make any sense. It could be that fellow and this fellow and that big fellow and that skinny fellow and that black fellow. So it could. But in hearing what you've now said, I acknowledge the fact that it is a prestigious role and that you are looking at the cream of the crop. And so I'm wondering as to why the definition of fellow was not included in the bill, and whether that would not be an appropriate way of allowing people who are unfamiliar with the goings-on of a society like this to know what it really means. And so I'd like you to respond to that request, if that is possible. The second thing is, I wanted to know from you, by extending and including the humanities, sorry, Mr. Speaker, by including the humanities, do you foresee that we will have an expanded membership of fellows? Will the members foresee that we have expanded member of fellowship? You've said, the member has said that there is a range of about 366 fellows. So what are the projections that you foresee with now expanding it to include the humanities? Forgive me, Mr. Chair, I'll get it right. The other thing I'm now curious of, have we ever appointed Pacific fellows onto the society? As it is a known fact that we're not getting enough young Pacific people into the science. Does the member foresee that by including the humanities that we will be able to acknowledge some of the those people who are doing research in those particular areas, and acknowledge the distinction of the work that they would be involved with? I want to acknowledge Māori Pomare that Nanaia Mahuta mentioned earlier. Pacific communities know Maui Pomare, know the area from which he hails from in Taranaki, because it was Maui Pomare who visited the Samoans who were imprisoned in Mount Eden by the government of the day when the New Zealand administration was trying to quash the protests of Samoa, the Mau movement for independence. And so it was Maui Pomare and Ngāti, I can't remember the name of the other elder of that particular time. So what I'm pointing out to the member is that there is a real need for including, or for at least identifying and acknowledging Pacific people as well, who are showing distinction in their particular area of research. And I'm hopeful that by including the humanities, you'd see a broader range of people hopefully being eligible. The other thing I want to ask the member, by including the humanities, as you've got in Clause 9, Part 2, that you're now omitting science and technology and substituting science and technology for all the humanities. I just want to point that out for Mr. Speaker, because he was looking at me quite evilly. That does the humanities include research into languages? Now, we've got Te Reo Māori, celebrating Te Reo Māori on this week here. We've got a group of Pacific researchers, Pacific teachers who are protesting against the cuts by the Ministry of Education and the Minister of Education, cuts to Pacific languages, cuts to the promotion of the 5 Pacific languages, cuts to the Tupu and Whalonga series. Would the humanities include those who are researching and showing distinction in that particular area of Pacific languages? Because I think that is a particularly important area in the future. I want to also ask that in Clause 9, Section 1, Part 1, you're saying that the Academy Council you're omitting the name Academy Council. Mr. Chairman, this is serious.